The following podcast is brought to you exclusively. The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. This podcast is hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the sport of bowling. You will get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this generation, who just happens to be the son of a living legend. So, without further ado, let's introduce you to the host of the show, Rad Rob Francois, Dr. Ocho, and the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I am your host, Rad Rob Francois. I hope everybody's doing well all around the world, especially here on YouTube and Facebook Live. We are live streaming from Johnny's Facebook page and my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel, Rad Rob Gaming. And thank you all. Thank you so much for being here. As always, I am joined by the man to my right, the shiniest mask in the world, thanks to Mother's California Gold 614. There's a 618. I forgot. He is the man with the second largest guns on this podcast. He is the greatest house shot bowler in Ochoville. He is also a doctor, our only doctor on the show.
And Rob had warned us that there'd be technical problems, so he may have just bounced out due to creative differences with tornado watches. So he's introducing me, Dr. Ocho.
And then I left.
Back now.
Yes, and then I left. Yeah.
Because I don't know if he's trying to pretend like there's tornadoes in the area because he wants sympathy. That's what he does.
You almost got mine. I was nervous for a second.
Pedal. I'm on the pedal. I'm pedaling freaking electricity throughout the country just to keep this podcast going. That's where he was going. Continue your kind words about me, Rad Rob.
I was introducing you. I was about to give everyone your name, and then I hit the wrong button because I tried to get back to the comment screen, and I clicked out of the stream. So,
total professionalism by Rad Rob. Thank you, Rad Rob, by not only trying to jump on Johnny's coattails for the first 24 seconds of the show, but then throwing your damn verbiage of the word thank to you the way you say thoink. Now, everybody, I want everybody to comment thoink you, THOINKU, Rad Rob. Everybody for putting this show together. Get the comments going.
It is the one and only Dr. Tiberius Ocho Jr. III. Hello, Ocho.
Pass.
We're also joined by the third man. His name is on the marquee. He is the best looking person in the room right now, at least. Well, I mean, I don't know what else.
Appreciate that.
I'm just going to say
low standards.
He has bigger guns than the Ocho. It's proven. It's a scientific fact. Come on, throw them out, Johnny. Come on, don't be modest. Throw them up. There they are. See, now there's no comparison, man. You might have the peaks, but he's got the overall girth. And you know,
he does have the peaks. I've got the girth.
But girth matters, Ocho. Just ask Quarantine Lady.
None of it matters when they find out. We're both winners.
Well, that's fair. No, that's fair. He is the one and only number 7 on the program, number 1 in your hearts. He is Johnny Petraglia Jr. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, gents. I am in one of the worst slumps of my bowling career. My skill has completely diminished again.
Oh, no.
And so I'm going through a rough patch here where like I'm falling in love with bowling again, and now I suck at it. So I got to relearn like how to be good again, because it's really embarrassing when I couldn't even shoot even at the state tournament, guys. I mean, this is embarrassing. So I just wanted to let everybody know that my bowling game is suffering immensely these days, and I'm looking for some lessons from somebody else at this point. But other than that, looking forward to another great show. Still,
maybe that means you'll be fettered tonight, since you've been so jovial and calm and towing the line the last few weeks. Like maybe we're gonna get some unfettered / fettered Johnny Petraglia Jr. Since you get all hot and angry, damn it.
Well, let me ask you this, Johnny. We all know that Ocho is your longtime trainer, coach, and mentor.
Life coach.
Apparently, he's not doing his job well, so you're going to have to seek help elsewhere, apparently.
I used to send him videos weekly, and it's just been so long since I've practiced. So this is actually my fault that I haven't gotten the proper documentation over to him so he could actually analyze what's going on.
Right. Let me, it's like going to your doctor for like one time every 20 years. I can't figure it all out at one time, man. Send me something new and we'll take care of it, buddy.
Sounds good. I'm definitely ready. I can tell you this much. When they say, don't get too wide, it definitely affects your swing. Yeah, my direction, I used to be at least decent at getting it off my hand in the right direction. Now it's like the whole way to the foul line, I'm just like, what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I can't remember the last time I bowled 240. That sucks.
Yeah, wow. Crimea River. Now, what he's saying is, I'm going to explain this to the folk who are bowlers. Right now, JP Jr. is mad that he's so damn jacked right now. So he's going, oh, woe is me. I just got too damn wide. I'm so sorry that I can't get my arms down on my side. What am I supposed to do? Damn it. It sucks to be me. As he's strutting through the freaking bowling alley with his freaking air luggage going. Ladies falling all over him like they always are. Oh, darn. What a shame it is to be you.
Is that accurate, Johnny?
I'm with my woman. You guys know that, so I'm not. I'm not observing anymore. Oh, you mean the other part?
They're still fawning. It doesn't matter. Like they still fawn.
No, it feels good to continue with a commitment that I started to myself 4 years ago. That nobody told me I had to do. That I wasn't forced into. It's something I woke up one day and decided that I was ready to try and get healthy. And, kind of just like everything else that I do in life, I'm an extremist. So
but you knew that was going to give too. Even your dad had said years ago during one of my life coach sessions, that big lats really do affect a bowler because you have to then rotate rather than come through the shot. And that's what you're having to do. So, granted, I'm as wide as can be. I still shot 698 the other night. I haven't shot under a 680 in the last month. But, hey, look, some of us have a little extra talent and some of us don't.
That's why you're my coach. What's up, Rob?
Let me ask you this, because we are always honest on this show. And, I'm just going to throw it out there. You're obviously clean and sober right now, correct?
Yes, correct.
Which is a little bit different than how you used to, what you used to do, your habits, the way you used to bowl. You used to, have fun or have a few drinks when you bowl. But now that you're not doing that, you kind of have to, I don't want to say relearn how to bowl again, but other than your physical changes, obviously, you're not you're not taking any drugs, you're not doing any alcohol. Does that make a difference in how you prepare or how you just act in the bowling alley as compared to usual? Like, did it make a difference?
Yeah, it changes everything. When your triggered routine is to, okay, I bowl league at 7, so I'm going to get there at 4:30 or 5, and I'm going to drink for a few hours. So by the time, what Bear just said, so by the time I get to go bowl league in the first game, I've got my swing lube. There is no mental blocks. There is no, I'm supposed to shoot 750 tonight and I only shoot 680. It's just everything is freewheeling because we're on a house shot. Everything's easy as it is already. The only thing that can really stop you is your own brain, right?
Yeah.
So the preparation for that is I don't eat when I drink. I eat when I'm done drinking. So I wouldn't eat anything. I would just get to the pub and I would drink for a few hours before bowling, drink during bowling. And then when I would get home, I would eat something. And what's different about that now is all the things that come along with drinking and doing shit like that, especially out in Vegas, is, you're not sitting in the bowling alley bar, you're sitting in a casino.
Right.
So you drink and you gamble and you do all that to kind of pass the time. But now it's, I leave work at 3:00. I go straight to the gym. I come home. I either eat what I prepped earlier in the week or I meal prep. And I get in my car to drive to South Point around 6:20. and I get to league, and at least when I get there, I have the energy from the food that I just ate rather than the feeling from my brain from being drunk that I have the energy to pursue what I'm doing. You know what I mean? What's up, JJ? So everything changes. And for me, the biggest problem is, and the reason I love drinking when I bowl so much was because it shut all those demons off.
Right.
And that's one thing that, I'm still kind of working on in sobriety again. I used to do it second nature before alcohol was ever introduced to me. And now it's just relearning the process all over again.
But do they go hand in hand, though? Because for me, bowling.
Thanks a lot for that message, Derek. Sorry to cut you off.
Go. Do your thing. Do your thing.
No, that was a nice message, and I
didn't see it. So if you want to read it first, and then I'll hit my thing. Go ahead.
Hey, you said Derek Michaud says if you felt in your life you had to get clean and sober, I'm beyond proud to know you. Truly a class act and just plain and simple one of the good guys. So that's very, very nice. And I've tried. How are you, Jeff? I've tried it a couple times now. This is my third time, but I think got enough other good things going on in my life right now with, work and my girl and everything else. So I'm going to be good this time. What were you going to say, Oach? I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, so you were saying that was to get your mind off of the demons. But for me, because I'm not a bowler, clearly, even though our good pal, the Bear, would suffice it to say that I am, even though, no, that's a joke. That's a shout out to Bear. He's a funny dude. We all know who he is. And that's literally my pitch to take my time off of reality. So I'm not even there to worry about bowling. So you have it so deep because you're there to bowl that it's almost like you're conflicted on so many levels that you're there to bowl. You want to do well. I wouldn't give a rat's behind if I didn't bowl well. So it's just being there is my time away. Much like watching a freaking Yankee game or a Ranger game, I'm just buying that time for the 2-hour escape from reality. So you're on a different level with that because you're still trying. Not that we're not trying. I'm really making a hard point here, but you're trying to avoid the demons, but those are bringing out your demons. The bowling alley is where the demons start. But for most of us, that's actually our luxury. So what almost is our luxury is your penance to begin with. So that's almost you're so many levels in that we wouldn't understand, really.
I never really actually thought about it that way because I still love being in the bowling alley.
Of course you do.
So, but yes, it kind of does make sense when you put it that way. Interesting thought. It's good.
So what can you do
in my brain? My bad.
What can you do to kind of quiet the voices in your head? How can you change up your routine to kind of, find something that takes the place of drinking while you bowl? Some other way to relax other than having to self-medicate? Is there...
Or your headphones, you said probably. Music. Your headphones, I bet, right?
Yeah. So I've figured out how to, work through league and local tournaments and things along those lines. But can't wear headphones when I decide to go bowl something PBA related.
Right.
Can't wear anything USB-C. So you can't wear headphones during the Open Championships. But what I just need is I kind of need to silence my own brain. It's so true that one simple thought can change your entire outlook on something. So, when I used to be drunk on the lanes, what happened was my first thought walking down onto the lanes was, doesn't matter how good the guy I'm bowling bowls, I'm going to bowl better.
Right.
The score that he's going to shoot means absolutely nothing. If he shoots 230, I'm going to shoot 240. If he shoots 280, I'm going to shoot 290. That's the first thought in my head when I would go down to the lanes bowling drunk. My first thought when I go down bowling sober was, I wonder who's going to show up today. I wonder who's bowling USBCs. I wonder who's going to want to talk to me about how my dad's doing and how many senior events he's bowling. I wonder if anybody's going to nitpick that I have miscolored socks on today. I wonder if somebody is going to do. There's always. I wonder if people are going to be filming me.
You described it, dude. You just nailed the answer that I brought up because when we go to the bowling alley, we just want a high five. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Just
that's it. Oh,
right.
You threw a few strikes in a row. We're high.
Exactly.
That's as far as our mentality goes because that is almost our safe haven just for the fact that we're only there to those 3 games a week. We're not hanging out. You know what I mean? I don't mean hanging out there, but you're known to as far as this is what, you said most things that you ever got in your life was from bowling. So it stuck to you, whether you want to believe it or not. And you have made this other commitment to your life to get healthy, to create your physique, to be a different sculpture, which that's the hardest thing to do in the world. You want to talk sport versus skill? I'll put that as a sport versus anything. However, we'll deal with that later. But that's where just unintentionally, I wasn't even going there, but like just cerebrally, you have to have all that shit going through your head. We don't know that. We walk in and we're like, hey, my team's here. Hey, we threw some strikes. High five. We high five the other team. So that's as far as us amateurs really take it. So it's a fun take. It's not fun. I don't want to mean it like that, but like to get in your brain just to see what the scraps that are going on and the gears that are meshing, where that prevents you from having your good time and high fiving and just hanging out, which is what the booze probably took away a little bit.
That comment, that's one of the most respected bowlers in the world, or at least that I know, and one of the best talents. Greg admits he's done some of his best bowling while drunk. When he's not drinking, he can't pry it off. For all you non-bowlers, pry it off means like let it go. Like don't grab it at the bottom, trust that. Anyway, it means pry it off. If you figure out how to turn off the sober brain, please fill me in. Honestly, for me, Greg, because, again, I've been a little public with going through a little bit of moderate depression. And the one thing that I found is, other than eating, which I used to hate to do, I used to hate to eat because I always felt like it made me groggy and sluggish to the foul line. And now, since I've gotten healthier, I realize that the right kind of food, provides the right kind of fuel. And it's vital in certain situations, especially as we get older. But I actually started taking, we talk about this on a past show, serotonin synthesizers, 200 milligrams a day, and same time every day. And what it does for me is it keeps me out of the funk.
I'm not boost your mood at that point where you need it, so you're not falling into that trap of. Yeah. And again, especially if you eat, like we talked about, digestion, you're going to be sluggish because you're trying to digest. That's what your vessels, your body is literally trying to do. That it's your whole body's warming up now to digest your food. So you're not going to want to go throw the ball 20 how many times, 30 something times, whatever. So right. Timing it also, which I'm sure you'd figure out too, but getting your serotonin levels at the right time. Now, again, here's the other thing. For us amateurs, by walking into the bowling alley, our serotonin's going to go up. It's not because we initiate that. We're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to that hour and a half of escape, because that's why we're walking in. We're going to see the same, 45 idiots that we like. And somebody said, someone wrote high-fiving is stupid. I bowl with my nephew. So I fist bump him. I'm going to high-five him. I'm going to smack him on the ass. I'm going to make fun of him. That we're going to do that every night when we bowl. So I don't know why high-fiving is stupid. I think why would you take the fun out of bowling? Anyway, I'm going on a couple things. Go ahead.
Jerry Johnson, JJ brings up a good point. Typically, we tell folks to change your environment in order to change behavior. It's much harder when the environment is in the sport that you love.
Exactly what we said.
It's dead balls accurate, Marissa Tomei. That is spot on, and it's exactly what you guys just said, and Oach, what you said, especially how your serotonin levels automatically increase the second you walk into a bowling alley.
Amateurs have that, so it's our advantage almost.
Right. Yeah. You don't carry like somebody mentioned earlier, the difference between doing this recreationally and for a living is, those guys that are going in there to try and make a living, there is a certain level of serotonin that escalates, but there's also the hanging balance of their livelihood. And, it's just like I would assume a up and coming tennis star trying to make it at Wimbledon. You got to break through in order to get to the big events, the big bucks, things that
knowing you're going to work and you may not make any money. Think about that on the common level. Think about that on the, hey, I just got a job. Come here, work for me. But if we don't achieve this certain thing, you go home without nothing. And that's pretty much what the bowling alley or the bowling tour is. You know, you can be great, you can bowl good, but there's so many other people that are going to do better than you. So it's maybe I do get that serotonin kick, but the anxiety is going to pulverize that serotonin because now there's so much pressure on their own livelihood. And that's another topic, and that's a fun topic we can really go down. But that's what also separates like what which is recreational and fun versus how somebody literally has to pay their bills. Think about going to a job, not getting paid, and then going, Jesus, my mortgage is due. Something like that. Go ahead. I'm stealing the show because I'm the most talented too. So,
well, Johnny, you don't do it for a living. I mean, you are doing it recreationally. Are you not having fun? Like, you know, Ocho says it's his escape. He goes in there to have fun, fuck around with his nephew, have a couple drinks and just get out of the house. But I mean, what's it for you?
You know, for me, it's unlearning everything that I've learned that's gotten me to the point that made me feel like I had to change for good, if that makes any sense. Jerry Johnson earlier said you have to change the environment you're in order to change the outcome, right? Well, unfortunately for somebody like me, my environment and my home and all I've ever known is that bowling alley. But also my biggest things, the things that have made me need to get out of that environment are all prevalent in that environment. So it's just a tricky situation. And
well, the hardest part is it's because of you. It's not like somebody else has any other influence on this. This is literally you have to not only come up with the question, you got to come up with the answer. So it's almost like double jeopardy at that point, because what gave you so much is robbing you at this point, and you got to figure all that shit out.
You know what happens to me, and again, I'm not speaking to like talk myself up, but I am speaking from a perspective that, you know, not a ton of people experience on a league night. When I walk into a bowling alley, I don't like, if I walk into South Point, the first lane you see on your right side is 63 and 64. The end of the right side of the bowling alley is lanes 31 or 31 and 2 or whatever the heck it is, 33 and 34. In the time that I stop at the bar to have a cigarette and change my shoes and make it to, say, lanes 37 and 38, I have talked to 8 people, at least, about a thumb pitch, a finger grip being too elevated, what balls they can or cannot use in USB-C. Are you looking for a sub? Hey, do you remember me? You drilled me a ball 2 years ago. I'm here with a friend I want you to meet. Do you still give bowling lessons? How's your dad? How many stops is he bowling? And then I get to my lanes. That's how my typical league night starts. And people, let me throw this in the mix. I wear one headphone when I get to the bowling alley because I need something telling my sober brain, you're here to have a good time, man. Listen to Lady Gaga and then Metallica and then listen to Sammy Davis or Sam Cooke. In that order, just keep your brain going in one ear. And then I got to get 5 other people saying, hey, can you hear me with that thing in your ear? Like, no, bro, I can't. Not on that side. At least, yeah. Talk to me on this side.
Hey, you remember that Zach Morris phone? You should literally tape that and literally duct tape it. Just so
yeah, absolutely. That was great. I remember that episode. That's messed up. But anyway, so that happens, and now let's say this all happens, and I deal with it perfectly, right? Which I normally do because, truth be told, I still enjoy talking to everybody that I pass. Now I get down to my lane. Oh, John, we're on the end pair. You get free drinks on the end pair. What do you want, John? Oh, I guess I'll have a Diet Coke. So now I'm met with another demon, and we're still in practice. We haven't even started yet. So now I'm thinking about the 15 things that people wanted to talk about on the way in. I'm on the end pair in a 4-person league, which is way too far to walk to have a cigarette, which is another release that I have. I can't even do that. And I'm not drinking alcohol, even though I know it's going to make me happier, more bubbly, and bowl better. But I'm having a Diet Coke instead. And now I sit down, and God forbid I get up in the first frame and go big 4 and then wash out in the second frame. And now I have 18 in the second frame. Now I'm like panic stricken. I'm like, okay, Now I don't have any outs. I have nowhere to go. Every conversation that's presented to me right now, I'm going to have to use my brain in a capacity that I don't want to. All I'm trying to do is hang out with Phyllis, Jerry, and Josh and probably fucking try and shoot 780. And it just doesn't happen. And then it gets even more magnified when I go bowl a PBA stop. And you definitely can't have beverages at those events. So I'm in the process of relearning how to manage my own mental instability on the lanes. And it's a work in progress right now. And between that and the change in physique and, just completely sobering up, it's a battle, but I'm obviously equipped to handle and ready to.
This is why I love the show, Johnny, because you are open and honest. And we will get to the first round of the PBA playoffs. And
what are we doing here, man? You're just
we got caught in a time like we always do. We go off the rails, but this is an important thing because, people in the chat are going through the same thing. You never know who listens to this, on the podcast or on the YouTube channel going down the road. It's going through similar struggles. We've all, had issues in the past. Johnny, I applaud him for being completely open and honest, as he always is. He doesn't pull any punches. He's unfettered.
He's totally unfettered. He might have been fettered the last few weeks, but he's unfettered now.
Totally unfettered today. And, sometimes things come up that are just more.
Yeah, now he's mad at his bowling's bad. So, Rob, what did you do to this poor guy? Like, Jesus, why'd you bring it up?
By the way, real quick, you threw my buddy Lucas Leandro up there twice. Thanks, Lucas.
Right. Yeah.
Hit me up and let's bullshit pretty soon. Obviously, you're going through some of the same stuff. And JJ, thanks for all the comments so far. And it's always a pleasure bowling with you. And it sucks that I can just never ever fucking beat you. I'm talking to a pastor, and it's the first time I said fuck on the show.
Good job, Johnny. Yeah,
sorry.
On Facebook too. So at least it was to a pastor. So we made it worthwhile. By the way, I need a place to stay in July, so I'm coming.
Johnny, you love this show because honestly, it is an escape for you, right? And when we talk about stuff like this, it's a good way to get stuff off your chest. And we're kind of a big self-help group here now that we're especially live, on Facebook, and all your friends are here. So sometimes it can be cathartic to just talk about what's bothering you. So you never know.
Let's get to what's bothering them, and which was some freaking bowling ball talk, man. Isn't that what we're going for?
Johnny knows what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to.
I know, but hey, man, we got a show to do, and this has been awesome so far. And I'm not downplaying it. This is.
I'm good with whatever we're rolling with right now. So
that's right. Ocho, mind your own business.
My own business is we got.
What's up, Troy? Sorry, I missed last night, man.
Charlie,
meanwhile, sorry.
Charlie Legend. Charlie Legend's in the house. Sunday in the middle of a tournament, a guy wanted to know if I wanted to take a donut from him home to my wife. I love Charlie.
What was it laced with? And who's Charlie Tapp, by the way?
Come on, man.
All right, getting into the 2022 PBA playoffs. Kicked off this past weekend. Lots of interesting notes and news coming out from that. Johnny, I'll start with you. Our boy Sean Rash kind of making headlines again. Cussing on TV and maybe allegedly going over to the commissioner and already giving him money for the fine. Complaining about a light moving when he threw his shot. Like, is he just being a bitch or what? Well, like, what's up with Sean Rash?
At this point, I don't want to nitpick every little thing that Sean does at this point. I mean, granted, how do I put this? Sean is good for television the same way Pete Weber is.
Right.
He gets viewership. People are interested because you don't know what he's going to say next. The only difference I find between him and Pete is Pete always pointed out things that were either obvious or obvious to him, like don't flash the camera in my approach, or he would say God damn it when he rung a 10-pin, or he would get pissed off and angry, but it was never directed at an opponent, at a fan, and it was never deliberately done with any ill intent.
And Pete was predictable about it as far as like his showmanship, which he almost like you knew what you were getting, where now you don't know what you're going to get. So I totally get what you're saying with that. And it's almost like we've even talked that he's always respectable after the game. It's almost like an understood during the game. I'm going to do my thing. I want this to be our domain. I'm going to talk some smack. It's not going to be to you. It's going to be to the bowling alley and to the audience and to the camera. And so it's much more like showmanship, where continue on there, JP. Or Rob,
Yeah.
go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
I mean, I was going to say, we knew what we were getting out of Pete. Like, that was kind of his shtick, right? And especially when he got older, we knew Pete had been around the horn, and he's an entertainer, right? I mean, he loves to get the crowd fired up, and he's a very emotional, passionate guy, but I don't know Sean very well, and I don't know if he's just complaining because he's upset, having a bad day. Is he trying to be controversial? To me, complaining about a light moving during his shot for why he missed a 10-pin, it doesn't add up to me.
No, the light honestly may have happened, and if it did, that's an issue that should never come up in a production of a contest of that levity, So, but just the only thing I don't like is saying shit on the air. You have to know what you're saying to say that in that situation, and then still say it.
Yeah.
And then the aftermath to downplay it, like, yeah, I got all this chump change. It was almost like I'm above everybody. I'm like, I got news for you, bro. You're not what's his name? You're not Antonio Brown. You don't have that kind of stack to go do that. You don't have that kind of fucking following,
Will Smith knew he wasn't going to get in trouble. So he smacked.
I didn't think there was anything really wrong with it. I don't think it was bad for the PBA or bad for anything along those lines. I again, my opinion, I frown upon it because I think it's classless. Because the guys that I admire in all sports don't do that shit. They just
JP, let me ask you this: as far you've seen you're a sports fan, I know that. So
yeah,
like hockey brawls, like full on bench clearing hockey brawls. While they're great at the time, they set the league back. They set the game back a little bit. I don't think what he did set it back because I mean it's still just minuscule. But is that kind of what you're trying to get at? Like it'll get eyeballs, but it's more like a lateral movement rather than like an upward swing for it. I don't know. I'm trying to gauge it a little bit because you seem on the fence on it. You're like it's good, but
I'm on the fence on it because it's bad publicity in a sport that needs good publicity first.
Right.
Yes.
It needs good publicity.
Earlier on Sweep the Rack, they were talking about how you have Fox Sportsbook to bet on bowling now. And how if you actually were to introduce bowling into the world of betting, that would be the way to accumulate that viewership to where we need a bad guy. But right now, it's not bringing enough. It's bringing attention to something that people consider a game instead of a sport as
betting,
it is.
You don't need a bad guy. You need a winner and a loser, and you will get eyeballs on that. That's all you freaking need. And if they do that, that is brilliant. I can tell you that right now.
If Tom Smallwood is bowling Jason Belmonte in the first match of the World Championship, and Tom Smallwood is plus 3,000 to run that ladder and win, you can bet your ass if somebody puts 10 grand, 100 grand on Tom Smallwood to run that ladder, bowling will be on in the sports books.
Absolutely.
On every single television.
He can be plus
somewhere.
400 for that match, and it'll be on somewhere.
What Joel just said right there. You can't be the bad guy at your own convenience.
Yeah.
Maersk Sealand. You cannot be. That was for Joel, so don't mind the little Tourette's thing there.
You do your thing.
That you can't at your own convenience. Exactly. That's why I don't know.
Well,
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Pete was always just Pete anyway. So he was coined the bad guy. It wasn't even that like. So, yeah, right. You can't even do it on your own. It's got to almost be a moniker that has been attained to you. And
because he's not talking in all of his rants and all the things that he does on television. He's never talking about himself, first off, ever. He is never once, if you watch any show, ever once has he turned around and said, well, that wasn't very good, Sean. Or, Jesus, Sean, pry it off your hand. Or, He just doesn't do it. It's always something else. So when you're always doing that, a.k.a. whining about something, and then your continued antics are always something that has nothing to do with you or the elements directly in front of you. That's the convenient bad guy. That's the crybaby mentality.
Right. Which also might be the way he gets there. That might be the way he wins tournaments because of his own mentality. But I get what you're saying. And it's no fault of his at that. It just doesn't translate, basically. That's all.
To me, it's not a good look. Like Johnny says, this is a sport that is kind of on the downtrend, and we do need more positive things to happen. Obviously, Belmo was a great, a person to revitalize the sport for quite a while.
Skill.
And still have
there's a prime example. Sean said shit on that show, and Jason said damn it twice. Yeah. Jason said damn it twice because he threw his worst shot of the day on a very soft, easy, playable condition in that 2-frame roll-off against Bill O'Neill, the 16 seed, and he threw it like crap. And he said, damn it, knowing full well that what he just did, now Bill has the opportunity to get up and go strike 9 spare and beat him.
Right.
That is different than in the middle of a pre-match interview talking to the sideline reporter and using vulgar language in that conversation. Like, classy professionals in the limelight in any sport, they just don't do that shit.
Right.
Muhammad Ali didn't do that shit, when he was accepting the belt for being the best fighter in the world. It's so, like I said, whether it was a slip or not, I feel that it's very consistent with whatever motto, whatever image he's going for at this point. Whatever he thinks he's doing, he most likely thinks he's helping the sport by doing it. So, and there are people out there, because he has created, just like everything else in this world nowadays, he has created a divider. There's Rash lovers and supporters who love his outspokenness, and there's Rash haters who despise the way he is. And then there's people like me in the middle that understand both sides of the coin. And it's usually the people in the middle that don't have a say on anything because it's so lopsided whoever you talk to. I guess that's what makes me rare. So, I don't know.
To me, Johnny, just as a casual fan or, somebody just turning on bowling to see what's going on, they see a guy that's just kind of bitching and moaning about what's going on because he's not bowling great. And, you look him up and like, oh, wow, he's got a pattern of doing this in the last, 6 to 8 months, So it's not a good look. And maybe somebody needs to have a talk to him.
I don't think it'll matter.
Who's going to talk to him, though? Because, again, he's right.
Nobody.
He's not on a team. I know he's got a contract, but it's not a team thing. So, like, what's going to be addressed, really?
He needs to be the face of the company. That's what Joel just says right now, especially with him being a 900 global. They need him to be the face of the company, especially with what they're dealing with. And is it bad publicity for them? Is it good because people are talking about Sean and they know and they find out he represents 900 global? Like,
that's a good point. Sorry to cut you off. Just
to speculate. Obviously, you don't have any inside information, but just to speculate about that. Do you think 900 global appreciates what's going on, or is good bad press, good press?
I think 900 global is fine because it's Storm. So, it's Storm products. So I think Storm is perfectly fine with anything that happens as far as coverage of 900 global. There's no doubting that the balls are still good. It's not going to stop sales or anything like that. And I guess I don't know enough to know that what actual airtime and television coverage does for bowling ball sales nowadays, because based off of viewership and the many different avenues to purchase bowling balls nowadays, I'm not sure how much it's affected as compared to, say, back in like the mid 90s when there were only, say, a dozen balls produced a year. Mm-hmm. The hell were we even talking about?
You were going to say happy birthday, Nicole. I want everybody to say happy birthday, Nicole, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday, Nicole.
That's it.
That was good timing.
Is it good for 900 global or bad? Because
you said on 3. What did I say? What were you saying?
Is it good or bad for 900 global, given the fact that
yeah. So I think where Sean either missed his own ship or decided to reroute the ship because he didn't think this island was going to have the gold. The torch was basically given to Sean. Like, Chris Barnes is getting older. He's been a fantastic ambassador to this brand. He's helped grow it. It's become one of the most important notches in Storm's repertoire. And we're going to pass this torch on to Sean. He's new. He's still fresh. He's a stud on tour. He's this and that. And maybe in the 900 contract, he didn't have to be nice.
You'd think that would have been like such a I mean, like, you're getting the torch passed to you. Like, that should have been one of those things where, like, I can't talk for it, but like, it should be such an honor. Like, oh my God, I thank you so much. I know there wasn't an official swearing in ceremony, but like, I'm gonna take this company in. We're gonna run it into the next century, and we're gonna represent and support and show why this is the best company. Almost an ambassador type situation where, and it was. I know it wasn't handed to him. I get what you're saying, but like,
but he's
man,
the face of the company, Coach. He's
right.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. So like, you'd think somebody would almost be like, man, I got to turn it up. I got to really freaking, show my guts here and be an ambassador is what I keep saying. I don't know if that's a drawn out word, but I almost feel like that's probably what the, because I can't imagine anybody. And again, that's how bowling kind of always was. It was like golf. Like it's an honorable thing. It's, it's,
yes.
You pass it to the next, and you appreciate what got you there, and then you pay it forward next. So I don't know, man, but maybe there's something that they have that we don't freaking know. And I'm not
maybe if you really want me to speculate, maybe Sean legit feels like in order to be different, he has to make sure he's nothing like anybody else that's a legend on Storm staff. For instance, he definitely cannot be the technician, longtime legend, personable, every fan loves him. He's not Norm Duke, right?
Right.
That is its own torch. He is not the best bowler in the world with a very nice smile, very articulate and from Australia and two-handed and the future of the sport. So he's not Belmo, right? So that's too big. Who else am I missing? He doesn't have an afro, and he's not bubbly picking his hair and winning 500,000 in a season. So he can't be bubbly and floaty like a troop. He also can't be like the baddest boy bowling has ever seen in Pete Weber. So I guess maybe his image is, well, I'm already kind of an asshole, so I'll just be the asshole. Because now we've got pretty much every base covered.
Or
so
that
everything that you think of,
struggle.
You think Storm products.
Yeah, but think about this. That probably could be the struggle that I don't think people try to be an asshole, but maybe that's literally where he's stuck in.
Could be.
I know I don't try to be. I'm just better than most.
Well, like Doyle Iron says, if bowling's going to try to increase ratings, it needs characters. I mean,
but is that a character though?
It is because he creates. We're having this discussion.
You're right.
For that exact what Doyle just said. And
Yes,
by the way, Sibo, I'll see you in July. And yes, we are.
But are we saying that because of that, or because like is he mentally weak, fragile? I don't mean it like that.
No,
like,
hell no. He is.
No, he's not.
He is certainly not mentally. He is certainly not mentally weak when it comes to bowling. He's one of the best bowlers the sport's ever seen.
But is it calculated or not?
I think that it might be, yes.
Okay, then.
I think that his brain actually may be so advanced that he's calculating intricate shit like that because he thinks it's going to be the most beneficial in the long run. Yes, I do think that possibly he may think that way. Who knows? But either way, like I said, image is image. He's always been a little rough around the edges. He's getting older, and we have no idea what's going on in the guy's personal life, nor is it our business to discuss. But seemingly, the last few times he's been on television, you could tell that he doesn't have the same oomph that he used to. He doesn't have seemingly the same desire that he used to. It seems like he has so many other things he has to take care of before the week starts that bowling is not the first thing on his brain.
This is like
anymore.
You walking into the bowling alley right now. Basically, you just said the same thing 30 minutes ago.
This is different, man, because I'm walking – I'm not walking in there to take care of my family.
No. I understand that, but it's the struggle that bowling is the task at hand. He's got so many other things on his mind. You have so many. I'm taking it at a cerebral level. Same thing. I don't know how to bowl anymore. You came in the show saying it, and you walk in because you got people asking you this, and you just want to tie your shoes, and anything but bowling is on your mind. And that could be the same thing for him right now. Like you said, there's so many other things on his mind that the task at hand of course, supporting his family, but maybe the priority isn't there. It doesn't, because of the dynamic doesn't mean it's any different. It just means the consequences are different. That's all.
Sibo brings up a good point, and again, this is what I said earlier, as far as me being spliced right down the middle, is that he is being himself, and I respect it as well as Sibo, because who else can you be if you're not yourself? Absolutely, 100% agree. The only thing I didn't like about it was seemingly over time, and we were discussing later on. Like I said, I applaud anybody that is themselves. I'm so myself these days, it's fucking stupid. But what I was saying earlier about being kind of split down the middle and understanding what problems it does cause is for me, again, this is me. When the people that I admire, when they are in the limelight and they are aware that they are in the limelight, when they are being interviewed in the limelight, talking to live fans of all ages, they should be more self-aware. They should be more aware of their surroundings in that moment. I'm not talking about when they accidentally say damn it or they have to block out a cuss word when they're bowling on the lanes. When it is seemingly staged and then you follow it up with all right, I'm going to throw a little salt in the wound and I'm going to go and put my hand in my pocket and walk over to Tom Clark and pay off this fine. Now you're playing on something that is already a classless act.
But the word's professional.
Exactly. That is not professional to me. So I don't hold anybody on any on any platform that's willing to do things like that and then try and flip the script a day later and say, oh, but I also do this charity and do this.
Right.
It looks shitty.
Yeah.
At the end of every baseball game, when somebody hits a game-winning hit and they come out and interview them and they throw pie in their face, and they one time I think there was a swear after somebody won the World Series, but for the most part, it's a professional. That's the point of the word professional. It's conducting yourself to the standard that other people want to strive to be,
a higher standard, and
yes, you're right. Because honestly, I didn't know it was said in an interview. I thought he would, oh shit, I threw a bad ball. The fact that damn it and shit are different is still a little ticky tack. But if you're saying it in the interview as opposed to reacting, there is a big difference about being professional. So you're nailing it, man. Honestly, there's nothing you're not saying anything taboo.
Yeah, I mean, it's the placement of it. I'll send you the link to your cell, Sibo. But basically, in a pre-match interview, whatever he was talking about, he had said something along the lines of not giving a shit, and then he said, "Oh, I guess I'm gonna have to pay that fine too," and cracked a joke about it after it happened. And then you see him as they're continuing the interview with his opponent, who was Kyle Troop, kind of walk off the side of the TV set, notion into his pocket, taking out money to hand the fine to Tom Clark. That means a lot to me, Sibo. Yeah, Carlton and I been friends for a very, very long time, and he's always been one of the most real people, and I think that's why him and I get along so well, even to this day, because he's a logical, rational thinker that loves everybody for who they are, and those are the kind of people I try and surround myself with. So it's a pleasure to have you here on the show, and thanks for all your input. Anyway,
you guys want to talk about the bowling tournament that was
feeding off the Rash match. He didn't bowl bad, but he had no chance against back-to-back 266s by Kyle Troop.
Absolutely right.
When I said earlier, guys, that those lanes are soft, they between the warm-up and everything that they did prior to the show, there's a lot of miss room on those lanes, baby. I mean, I think the average score of the winning matches minus the 1-210 that was bowled that won a match 210-205 was somewhere, in the low 250s or high 240s.
It was really cool watching how little Kyle Troop did to the bowling ball. It was almost like
really?
He threw a skee ball. He wasn't, these guys try and rip at it. He was literally just using that handicap thing where they just let the ball roll down, and that was his hand. He didn't have to hit it. And it didn't break much. He didn't have to make it break much. Still looked different to me because I'm so used to these guys having to manipulate the ball. Looked really cool to watch how different the bowling was for that.
And he was more relaxed, which you could obviously see by him joking around and playing to the camera and playing to the crowd. See, when you talk about characters, we need more guys like Kyle Troop. We need more guys that can be one of the good guys. It could be flamboyant. It could be boisterous.
I wonder if he knew he had
charismatic.
Sean after that interview, because he was he wasn't ramped up, but he panned to the camera. He like what people do. They pan to the camera. That's the entertainers do. So I wonder if he knew, like, mentally he had him.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That's a good point. What do you think, Johnny?
I think that when the conditions are easier, that's when power and revolutions really become really trump traditionalists, for lack of a better term. It's, the comparison here would be is like urethane. Urethane is always in play, right? It always dummies down a condition and makes it simpler because the ball changes direction, softer and closer to you. But when the scores are very, very high, it's tough to keep up with resin when you're throwing urethane. So on softer lane conditions, once like in the first match, we saw Jason Belmonte and Bill O'Neill both throwing urethane.
Yep.
Right? Eventually, by the end of their second match and into the roll-off, they were both throwing symmetrical solids. Bill O'Neill was throwing a Columbia Command, and Belmo was throwing the discontinued High Road Nano. But as it progressed and they got to the Rash Kyle match after that, those lanes were already shimmed up. They were already made a lot easier. There was a funnel effect going on. So what happened was, by the time Sean hit the lanes, Sean's a traditionalist. His ball speed is going to be naturally a little bit higher. Well, actually nowadays it's similar, but his rev rate is certainly going to be lower. Yeah. And his angle of attack through the pins can't be near what a two-handers is, even with the relaxed, seemingly floating release that Kyle has. I think Kyle, knowing all of that, knew that Sean's going to have to average 250 against me if he even has a prayer of splitting this 1-1 with me and getting to a roll-off. That, and then in the early going, when you look at the strike track, Kyle got one to the 7 board down lane. He got one to the 2.8 board. He got one to 4, and they all wound up in the same spot.
Everything right in the same exact spot.
You give a two-hander with more power, more revolutions than you have as a traditionalist, you're not going to beat him at that point. The O'Neill-Belmo match, the placement of that match, as talented as Bill O'Neill is, if you flip that script and you make Bill O'Neill Bull Belmo in match 2, I think it's a good match, but I think maybe Belmo beats Bill O'Neill. In the first match, I think maybe Sean has a chance to beat Kyle because they're more on the fresh.
That makes sense.
So the placement of those matches also kind of dictated not only the scoring pace, but what kind of game was most likely going to come out on top.
That's a great point. Our other matches, we saw Chris Prather take out Brad Miller, 210 to 205, 258 to 212. And then we had another roll-off between Patrick Hanrahan and Don Barrett. Don Barrett shoots 280. I mean, and we're, 2, 4, 6, 8 games in, roughly 7, 8 games in. I mean, that's kind of amazing to shoot 280 when all the oil's kind of broken down and all over the place, right?
But supposedly Packy had that. He just had that purple hammer, and he had the best look out of everybody all through their practice rounds and all through. And who was else on the left side? So, and for some reason he got swirled up. Everything started crossing over. And how does that happen? Just on, I don't know who else was in it. Honestly, I only saw
That's okay. Packy was the only southpaw on the show. Dom Barrett, what he did was he used the Track Paragon, which is the biggest ball in the Track family. It's an asymmetric core, solid cover stock, super duper duper strong. And what he did was virtually what he's been doing this year and being so successful is he's getting the ball to make its motion early enough that his ball, when it changes direction, it's out of energy early enough that it turns that slightly high 4-9 type hit into a dead flush hit, but still has the strength to recover. And then what happened is in his match, halfway through match 2, that ball started hooking too soon, and he started nosediving. That's when he went to that Columbia speed. And even though he didn't bowl a big game in game 2, if you guys go watch the replay, the last 6 strikes he threw in that game to shoot whatever he shot, 233 or whatever the number was. What number was it, Rob?
233.
Yeah. Every single shot would have been 20 in the pit. They were all dead pure once he switched to that Columbia speed.
Did he stay in the same spot, or did he move a little to the right again or something? Or did
he moved, I'd say maybe 3 to 4 left with his feet and eyes, and to a ball that numbers, I don't know enough about the numbers.
You said he was nose diving too much on the other one.
Yeah.
And I got you. Right.
Yeah, so he definitely made a slight move in and switched to a Columbia speed, which I'm certain goes longer than a track Paragon. I'm sorry, this is horrible. This is part of my job to have the product knowledge, and I don't know the numbers or the core on and cover combo on the Columbia speed. I'd be curious to know if that ball's symmetric or not. But either way, go ahead, Rob.
No, I was just saying peace out to Brett Loringer, who's leaving. That's all.
See you, Brett. Thanks for stopping by. Always appreciate you being here.
I didn't mean to interrupt your thoughts, but we got to kind of move it along. What are you looking forward to seeing in the last of the first round? We got EJ Tackett and Jesper. We got Kyle Sherman and Tommy Jones. I'm looking forward to that one. Jacob Buttriff and AJ Johnson, another great matchup. And then we got Sean Maldonado and Simo. Pretty good matches coming up here.
Oof. You know what? I'm looking forward to the TJ Kyle Sherman match. I think that'll be very interesting to watch. I think that Kyle's kind of running high right now, and I think Tommy is laboring. I think Tommy's been on such a tear and such a badass tear that he's kind of like slowing down a smidge. And I think that they're going to meet somewhere in the middle. I think that's going to be a great match. The Buttriff AJ match, I think this is going to be the most relaxed you ever see AJ, because Jacob is so relaxed when he bowls. AJ's really in your face, emotional, likes to pump shit out, and Jacob looks like he's just like ready to have a butterfly land on his finger when he bowls. So I think that combination's actually going to free up AJ. So my prediction in the AJ Buttriff match, I think AJ moves on. I think it's going to come down to a roll-off between Kyle and TJ, and I think TJ is going to come out on top. What are the other 2 matches?
Sorry, we got EJ and Jesper, Kyle Sherman, Tommy Jones, Simo and Maldonado.
Simo and Maldy, I'm going to go with Simo. Not knocking Maldy in any way. I know he's having a fantastic season. He's really been bowling fantastic for the last couple of years. But I consider Simo the greatest bowler in the world when Jason Belmonte's not bowling.
That's fair.
So I'm going to go with the favorite horse. And then the last match that you just said again, Jesper and EJ. On that one, it's all dependent on EJ. I know that even that's tricky to say when he's bowling somebody of Jesper's caliber, but EJ is unbeatable when he's on, man. And EJ just has got to figure out how to consistently be a little bit more awesome once he gets to television. But
why does EJ make? Is it like an all or nothing principle with him? Like for some reason the guy's got the release is the smoothest anyone's ever seen. He gets more revs for a one-hander than anybody, but yet for some reason he leaves some wacky ass shit. I know it's a testament to the lanes, but is it something that he's doing? Is that the risk because if he's on, he's so on?
I think EJ leaves designs for 2 reasons. Number one, he does have the tendency to get a little bit grabby here and there.
He's steep, very sure. Yeah. We know that.
And whenever you get a little grabby at the bottom, the ball's always going to change direction at a different measurement of length, which is in turn going to leave more funky designs, even though visibly it still looks like a good shot.
I usually get slapped in the face when I'm grabby at the bottom, but that's my own issue.
Can we entertain Sibo?
Sibo, yeah, tell me the answer. And while he's writing the answer, what was the question?
Why I grab and I get slapped in the face?
EJ.
Yeah.
Why is
EJ leaving wacky shit sometimes?
Good job, Oach.
Yeah, he gets a little bit grabby, and the other thing is he will always He never ever shortcuts a shot. He's like Walter Ray in that respect. He goes after it 100% every time.
So he never takes his hand out of the ball, really.
Yeah,
It's always
you're seeing all of EJ.
I got you.
Every shot he throws.
We were just talking
Absolutely.
about how Kyle Troop did literally nothing with it. Prather takes his hand out of he only uses a thumb at times, it looks like. The way he just rolls the ball, lets the ball do the work. So Tackett is full grab at all times, and I guess.
Well, again, I feel, and again, this is argumentative, absolutely. I think right now Chris Prather is the best in the world with
He's the most versatile. That's for sure.
Traditional bowler. He's definitely the best, and the wins prove that. EJ is definitely fantastic and will be go as one of the greatest bowlers of all time. Sibo says those balls love friction, not as much friction on the show. Which balls?
I think he was talking about Tackett, right? So we're
right. The balls that I mentioned. So put it up one more time. I was talking about the Paragon, the speed.
Sure thing, brother.
Yeah, not as much friction on the show. That's 100%. 210, 3610 reaction, and flat 10, 4-pin reaction, motive balls. Got it. That's what he was trying to explain. Okay, good.
What's up with Domo leaving all those 7-pins? What do you have, like 6, 7, 6 to 8, somewhere around there?
I think he had 4 or 5, or he had 5 over the span of the 5 or 6, right? Either way, the ones that he left in the first and the third frame, those reminded me of the one that he left against Brian Zeisig to lose the plastic ball on Long Island in Babylon.
Yeah,
is it just literally bad geometry, like the pin's in the wrong spot, or just the fact that for some reason they hit just a different way? Or
not in the Kegel Training Center. There's no way that the pins are off spot at the Kegel Training Center.
So it's just bad geometry, bad physics for some reason.
It could be. The carry percentage is so insanely high in the Kegel Training Center because of the sideboards inside the pit. So above the flat gutters, on the outskirts of the gutter, so on the 7 and 10 pin side, there's basically a piece of wood bolted into the sideboard there. So the pins come flying off the sides like nobody's business there. So what also happens is that's exactly it. They're springy. They have a spring effect to them. So in cases like those 7 pins, you could actually see the 4-pin hit the wall and jump up and scoot over the 7-pin. And that happened a few times. It's also why, even though the shaker 7s that he left weren't as good of a shot, they kind of hit that wall and they did a funky skip and they almost shot in front of the pin each time rather than at it. So it could have something very well to do with the sideboards in the Kegel Training Center. But as far as the pins being off spot, not in that building. Everything is perfect in that building. That's why the scores are always so elevated every time they bowl there.
Correct. We were going to talk sport versus skill. We'll do that next week because we're kind of running short on time. But I do want to cover one more subject. And if you guys want to see the rest of round 1, the 2022 Kia PBA Playoffs, they continue Saturday and Sunday on Fox Sports 1. Now,
hold on. We were going to do the sport versus skill live with all these jabonis.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, why not?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to have all these freaking yahoos attacking me for my freaking brain.
Yeah, why not? You already hate Rocky, so
wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I want every one of you jabonis to show up next week.
Absolutely.
And
Let's
prove
start
me
off
wrong because I'm going to tell you why it's a skill and not a sport.
Yes.
So mark your calendars next Wednesday, you freaking yahoos, you ham and eggers that can't.
I'm going to be I'm going to be with the jabronis, just so you know.
I know. I was going to say, I thought you were going to go, and I'm going to say it's a skill also, and you're going to ruin all the shit I was just saying.
I might wear a mask next week because I might say some really shitty things to you.
It's not anything. I'm going to speak factual information. That's all.
I'm going to speak egotistically, and I'm going to shit all over you.
That's what I'm saying. And that's why I got to deal with all these freaking nerdy freaking wannabe athletes, and it's fine. I can handle it. If anybody can handle it, it's Ocho. Rob, go ahead. This is what you're getting next week. I figured we'd do it on a regular podcast where it's a fair game, but now I have an advantage because of all you freaking ham bones.
We just teased it.
That doesn't mean four-bagger. That means I'm calling you guys ham bones.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Save it for next week there, champ. We'll lead off with that next week. So make sure you guys tune in next week, as you should anyway, because it's the best show out there. Guys, I sent you a screenshot of a post that I saw in the Hammer Bowling group on Facebook. A gentleman named Jim writes, posted his scores from the other night. He shot 830. He said, after struggling with my new purple hammer for the last month, I went back to Old Faithful, my red pearl hammer, circa 1987. To which I posed the question to both of you gentlemen. Given the way the house shot is now and the current stage we're in with bowling, how well could somebody bowl with older equipment on the regular? So I'll start with you, Johnny. You've obviously been around a long time. You have certain favorite balls that we already talked about. I still have a teal Rhino Pro and a forest green Quantum, so I'm not one to talk, but you love those balls. Given the way the sport is now with leagues and a house shot, can you still be accurate with older equipment?
100%.
And get the same results?
Yeah, you'll get the same results you've always gotten.
Now explain to people that may not know why.
Well, because technology is as quickly as it advances in our game, it doesn't make anything obsolete. Like, for instance, you could still use rubber on a synthetic lane, and you could still make a rubber ball hook on the dry section of a house shot on a synthetic lane. I averaged 235 at South Point last year, and I walked in with my shoes and a T-zone on my shoulder. That's a 92 hardness polyester ball with nothing inside of it. So you can use anything, and the more comfortable you are with a piece, like this gentleman that said, I'm having a hard time getting used to my purple hammer, but I went back to my 1987 red pearl hammer. He probably used that 1987 red pearl hammer for like 12 years, 10 years, and probably knows every single thing about that ball. The tendencies of that ball are not going to change. They're just going to hydroplane and go a little bit straighter because the oil is so much more viscous nowadays as compared to the way that it used to be. But you can certainly still use old balls nowadays. If you averaged 210 in the mid-90s using a red pearl hammer, you'll probably average 210 with a red pearl hammer nowadays. The pins are the same weight. The house shot is just as easy. The same part of the lane is slippery. The same part of the lane is dry. So what you will not be able to do using your balls of yesteryear is ever get better. And that's like one of the hardest things for people to accept is like when I can't tell you how many times I've given a bowling lesson. The first thing I'll say is, well, we've got to try and fix your timing step here, because right now what's happening is the ball is getting into your swing a little bit too late. I want you to try and start moving the ball in this step. And then one shot at, well, I can't do that. My back won't let me. Or no, I'm not going to do that. I've done it this way, so I want to try and work around what I do here. Honey, go find another coach. Like that's unfortunately what's going to – it's the same thing I always tell people that are backup bowlers. You can only average a certain number if you throw a ball back up because your body physically will not allow you to do other things to throw that backup ball other than the standard. So if you go out to, say, a PBA event with an 87 Red Pearl hammer and a Track Nuke and a Columbia Piranha, and you expect to beat guys who are throwing all of the highest technology stuff that's built to cater to the oil and the variables that they're bowling on, you'll be left in the dust. It goes back to what I said earlier about when the scores are really high, that as good as urethane is, it has a hard time keeping up with resin. Yeah, John doesn't throw rubber at nationals anymore because John sucked a lot at nationals with the rubber, but I wish I still could.
Yeah, I had only one. I assumed you were going to go to me afterwards. Probably not. You were probably going to forget because you're not a very good host, Rob. But all I had was one thing, and he stole it. The son of a bitch stole it. Because what I was going to say.
Who, me?
Yeah, you stole it unintentionally. It just means we're that smart. All I was going to say was, all you're going to do is continue your bad habits. It's all I was going to say. I played a round of golf with like Ping Zings from 1984. Shot 89. This is about 6 years ago. The next day, I used my Mizuno MX-80s. Shot 91. Hit the ball good. The next day, used my TaylorMade, the TP Tours. Shot 88. And I was like, well, I'm an idiot for buying new golf clubs. But I'm also an idiot because I'm never getting any better, because no matter what club I have, I'm still hitting the ball pretty much the same way within 10 yards. And that's all that is. What he said was all that stuff about, of course you can bowl and you'll bowl good. but you're not going to ever correct your bad habits. And
Right.
that's pretty much why you won't get better. And that's why the house shot has ruined bowling. Anyway, but I'm just leaving that for another time.
Yeah, finish it with the golf. I mean, now
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Now, had you started
Had
hitting
blades
1,000
or something, or
hit 1,000 golf balls a day, got a swing coach, and actually got somebody to fit you for the right kilogram shaft at the right length with the right distribution of weight in your head, just to make sure that your miss now hits more flush. Your grooves are cut precisely where they're supposed to be.
your lie is perfect.
Do you
your
think
loft is perfect?
Do you think with any of those 3 sets of clubs that maybe you can go out and shoot 84?
Probably, but
Exactly.
again,
Exactly.
But like you said, tailoring your swing too, because if they don't fix the swing, they can't figure out the club. So it's fix the Indian first, then get the right arrow, basically. And that's
Right.
that's what these bowling balls do. They basically have it's like shooting at a target that is like the size of a house rather than a bullseye like Robin Hood would.
Mhm.
But that was my only thing, honestly. I didn't have any bowling specs or anything. I was just going to say you're just enhancing your bad habits because you get away with your same bad habits. Doesn't mean you're going to get better. Doesn't mean you're going to get worse. You're still going to score okay. And it's fun for the average bowler.
And there are – go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
No, I'm
No,
sorry.
Rob, don't go.
Shut. Finish your thought, Johnny. I'll ask you a follow-up question.
All I was going to say was – and there are times that the balls of yesteryear are going to be the magic pearls that you shoot numbers with. I know we're not going back 30 years, but for instance, Anthony Simonson at the Masters switched to a roto grip uproar on the right lane, and that's the ball he struck with to win the Masters. That ball is 8 years old. That ball is not sold to the public, has not been sold to the public for 5 years. It was also one of the balls that Belmo threw everywhere. That ball was awesome, right? Belmo, you saw him throwing a high road nano on the playoffs over the weekend. That ball's discontinued. So there may not be ancient like the rubber LT that everybody's commenting about that I so admired for 15 years of my life bowling, but they are older bowling balls compared to the balls in today's market. So this happens all the time. Just think of it like this. The older a bowling ball gets, the straighter it goes as time goes on. Not because it necessarily goes straighter, but because the elements around it, compared to the technology when it was produced, make it hook less. So the older it is, the less it's going to hook, i.e. rubber and plastic are going to hook less than rhinos and turbos from the 80s, which are going to hook less than tremors and Cuda-Cs from the mid-90s, which are going to hook less than riot zones and Triton heats from
That
the
was going
2000s.
to be my other first intro about like your bad habits was like because the newest bowling ball I have I think is already 9 or 10 years old, so that was kind of where that first introduction. Rob, go ahead, tell us what you got to finish up with.
I was just going to actually go off of what Johnny said. I was going to say, given the fact that Belmo has such a high rev rate, could he take my Quantum and Teal Rhino Pro and shoot well with it on tour?
Belmo could strike with that ball in a box.
He could strike with
tour.
a skee ball, I feel like.
Yeah. Yes, he could. He would. Honestly, your Swamp Monster, which was a high load particle cover stock when it was introduced to bowling, would basically roll like a glorified urethane ball.
Yeah.
It would have the same motion for him, so he would keep his angles in front of him. Your Forest Green Quantum, he'd probably be 4 boards inside of wherever he was with the Swamp Monster. And the Teal Rhino Pro would be somewhere right in the middle. And he'd be playing somewhere around the track area with all 3 of them, somewhere around the second arrow. And he'd probably still throw pins everywhere because he's using a side of the ball that never touched the lane.
Now, there are chemicals and products and pads and all that can get the surface of a ball pretty much new again. Could you do that with older equipment and have them still perform like they were straight out of the box?
No. It's no matter what you do, you'll never make a bowling ball restore back to its original, motion.
Okay.
Like no matter what, I don't care where it's from. You could get all the nicks out, you can freshen the surface, you can make it be more crisp. But again, even if you did that, a bowling ball that you're throwing on today's conditions, there is no comparison to what it used to do. If it used to hook 2 arrows, it ain't going to hook 2 arrows now. It may still have the overall same hook potential,
right?
Because depending on where it hooks, but no, it's going to roll completely differently. But just resurfacing it to make it look pretty, shit, that's what I would do. That red pearl hammer was beautiful. I would love to resurface one of those beauties and use that in league. Just at least I have something pretty to look at while I suck.
Right. You know? Ocho, that just shows you how, you have an elephant brain, but Johnny does too, because Johnny remembers me telling him over a year ago that I have a swamp monster, and I haven't mentioned it since.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
When he said that, I thought it was somebody like a Scooby-Doo thing or something like that. But
you want to know what's messed up in my brain is I'm a visual learner, and I paint pictures in my brain. It's why I remember things so clearly, especially movie lines. I still picture Rad Rob throwing his Teal Rhino Pro and his Forest Green Quantum in Nutmeg Bowl in Fairfield, Connecticut, even though I never watched him do it. He told me the way he throws the ball. He told me how high his backswing is. He told me what he likes to do. He told me the color of the grips and the slug in the balls.
Yep.
So, I'm painting that picture in my brain. So whenever you even mention bowling, the first thought I have of Rob bowling is you at Nutmeg throwing, or you at not Nutmeg, Bradley, not Nutmeg, yeah, Bradley.
I have bowled Nutmeg too, but yeah,
throwing those bowling balls.
Right.
Yeah, Bradley and Windsor Locks, not Nutmeg in Fairfield. Sorry, close enough though. Yeah,
I've been all over South Windsor, Vernon. East Hartford.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere.
Yeah, that is how your brain works, and it's actually quite remarkable, to be quite honest. I wish I could focus on anything like that.
You don't. It's a curse at times. Ask Johnny. It's a curse.
Yeah, like when I bowl, it's like the only time my brain doesn't work.
Dude, it's literally like you picture, remember Big Blue, like the computer that's supposed to figure out like every calculation? Like that's JP on the lanes now. Like after talking to the guy who wants to ask about his dad, wants to know how to tie his fucking shoes properly, wants to know if his thumb should come off, his thumb should freaking go in the ball, wants to know if his grips are good. And he ain't even gotten to the freaking lane yet to see what lanes he's on. And like there's just like, I picture like if there was like infrared or like like pads on his face to show like the brain activity, it would just be like off the charts.
And
he's like, "Oh, I'm here to relax and bowl." No, you're not.
Yeah, it's no way.
We got to get you rechanneled and refocused, Johnny, and you'll be all right
there.
Well, like I said, I shot 698 last week. I shot 660 the week before, 698 again the week prior. I haven't shot anything lower than a 660 in the last 6 weeks. So, I mean, yeah, thanks for asking, guys.
Yeah, that's great.
What's up, Matt? Glad you're here, homie.
Matt Wilson in the house. What's up? Just as we're wrapping it up here. Big Guns, what's your Twitter handle? I don't know.
Oh, wait. No, you can't do that yet. I got one thing to say first.
Okay, wait, who are you talking to, me or him?
I'm talking to everybody listening. We still got people listening?
Yes, we do. I'm sorry. I completely forgot, Johnny. Sorry.
That's okay. This is a soft one for me, but I felt like the best way to do it was just do it here rather than going all nuts on Facebook. On this day last year, I lost one of my lifelong friends and one of my groomsmen at my wedding, Michael Marcus. And today is exactly 1 year since he's been gone. And I just wanted to say just a couple things from the time I got up at 5 a.m. Vegas time today to looking at my phone right now. I'm going to try and make this a happy moment rather than sit and dwell on all the shit that I've been dwelling on for the last year about how I never got a chance to say goodbye to my friend. But every message I got today from all my friends and my family was all just stuff about how much Michael changed their lives. And he changed everybody's life that he came in contact with. And when I get emotional about what happens in the sport that I love, a lot of it has to do with your imprint that you leave when you're gone. That's what's really irreplaceable. And Mike was always classy, fun, bubbly, helped everybody, cared about everybody, almost to a fault. And those are the things that I miss about Mike. But those are also the things that I think that anybody that knows him will never forget about him. So, Mike, we miss you. But every day that passes, I'm a little closer to you. So love you and miss you, homie. Now we can do our handles. Got that.
Christ, jeez.
Had to get that out.
It's awesome, John.
Wow.
I mean, it's
Good-
hard
good.
anytime you lose somebody, man, and you never get over it. You're just gonna find a way to get through it.
Well, especially if they affect you in that way too. Like,
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it, like shit.
Shit, exactly. Way to sum it up.
Well, I mean,
no doubt, no
but
doubt.
really, like that's
Oh,
the
you're
one
right.
time you can say it honestly. Like,
Yes. Yeah, not an interview, but right here on Straight Up 5.
Yeah, for sure.
good stuff, dude.
Johnny, what's your Twitter handle, buddy?
At JP Jr. 07.
Ocho, what's your handle?
I don't know.
You can find Ocho on Twitter at the Dr. Ocho. Don't send him don't follow him. He's not going to follow you back. He's not going to text you or anything like that. But
I might berate you if you do
You might.
tweet
Yeah.
me. I'm fine with that as long as you're okay with that. And believe me, I'm the best at it. So do that. I'm good with that.
that's fair.
Love you too, Joel. See you soon.
Like the shirt. Thanks.
I told you I like your shirt too.
Ocho, what shirt you wearing? Is that the shitty Ranger shirt you're
He's
wearing?
talking to you, Rad Rob.
I know.
I'm wearing
Okay.
my Jersey Girl. It's worn out, but
All right,
it's a
I
Jersey
thought it was
Girl.
your Ranger shirt.
Did
He's
you
only
see
got
my
one
shirt?
shirt
It
that he
says,
wears.
"Make cookies great again."
Thank you, Sibo. Appreciate it. Yes, I'm actually going to eat some cookies when we get out of here. All right, Ocho, stop.
Shocking, Rob. You don't have to say that. We know that's going to happen.
That's fucking horrible.
He's an asshole. He's an asshole. You
You
can find me
a Jersey Girl. Damn it.
You
Go
can
ahead,
find
Rob.
me
What's your Twitter handle?
on Instagram and Twitter at Rad Rob Gaming. We'll be back here next Wednesday, for another edition.
Haddock, I'm sorry.
Straight Up Five with Johnny Petraglia Jr. and the asshole, the Ocho, talking sport versus skill. Definitely tune in for that because it's going to be a very heated conversation. In the meantime, guys, you can listen to our archives on Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. On all podcast outlets. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. Peace out. We're out. I can't take it anymore. We're
Thank
out.
you.
See you next week.
Honk, honk. Later.
Shut up, Ocho.